Hello. Having been urged many times and been thinking about it for God knows how many years now, I have now come to the point where I'm going to try to do a video on Harold Guskin's Taking It Off the Page. Be advised first and foremost that this is my version, and when I say that, it's because, I read the book, Guskin's book, started teaching it, was fortunate enough to work with him in New York a couple of times before he died, which changed a lot of things for me. But I also know that working with me is, of course, different than working with Harold Guskin's. This is such an innate technique with him that I can only, try to communicate how I learned it. And if any one of you out there work with Gaskin and have different points they want to make or feel that what I'm doing is wrong, by all means say so in the comments. But this is what I got from working with him in combination with the book, obviously. Now, taking it off the page works as follows. You have a monologue in front of you, which I have right now. And what I do is I look down at the monologue while I breathe in. I'm inhaling. It's not a big breath, it's just a normal breath. So no, just breathe like you normally do. What you want is for your body and your voice and your emotions and all that stuff to all sort of be working on the same thing, right? Everything should be in natural flow, you might say. You're not trying to control anything, so just breathe normally. So you look down, you breathe in normally, read the first section of words, which makes sense. In this case, it's he stopped believing in himself. So I look down, inhale, look up, and then I exhale before I speak. Now, some of you may be wondering, why am I exhaling? I always, you inhale and then you speak, but actually you don't. If I do this, he just stopped believing. You can almost hear that my voice is strained. No one does that. What you do naturally, if you don't think about it, is actually exhale. He just stopped believing. I don't know how much it comes across, but I can feel when I do that my voice is natural. And that's what we want. We want the voice to be natural. We want you to speak the way you always speak. And this is why we exhale. You don't empty your lungs, obviously. You just, breathe like you always do. So what you do is you look down, inhale, read, look up, exhale, and you say, he just stopped believing. Now, and this is really important, the way you speak should be the way that you just feel like speaking in that moment, okay? Do not try to make it dramatic. Do not try to be interesting. Do not try to get a response. It's just the way you want to talk in that moment. Remember, this is an exercise. It's not supposed to be interesting. It's not something you want to show to other people and they're going to go, wow, this is amazing, right? This is for you. This is you reading the text into your own body. So no one cares what it looks like. It just has to be completely natural. But, and this is the difficult thing, you have to speak slowly. Okay, so I know that this may sound like the complete opposite of what I just said. Speak naturally, just in your own voice like you always do, but slowly. And I know it is, and you have to get used to this. Many students tell me, but I speak fast, but that doesn't really matter. You have to keep the pace down. The reason for this is that, remember, the text you're reading, your monologue in this case, is new to you. And we want to give your body and your system time to register what you're saying. There's a deep connection between the words you say out loud and what goes on inside you. And if we sort of skip past it, if we run through it too fast, we're going to end up in a situation where you don't actually register what you're saying, right? And this also means, for instance, in the monologue, which I've used for demonstration, which is going to put it at the end of this speech, there's a place where it says he quit, for instance. Now this is very standard, and you feel like you should say that quickly, right? He quit, right? You want to deliver it like he quit so fast. However, if you do that, it doesn't register with you, right? So you want to keep the pace down and go, he quit. Because if I do it that slowly, I'm teaching my body what I'm saying and I can feel it, right? Now, the thing is also that when you do this, you go through the entire monologue from one end to the other, okay? Which means that the breath, you don't do many breaths between what you're saying. You're simply looking down, breathing in, look up, exhale, saying what you need to say. Then you look down, take the next passage, right? Look up, exhale, speak. So you go through the entire monologue, so you get it in a sequence where it makes sense, so it can influence you, right? You don't look for anything, you simply see what happens now. Okay. So, and when you've done this once, you simply do it again. And now the difference is, of course, that now you know what's there. So you have the opportunity of having a different response, right? You understand the text better. And what we want is for you to simply go through the text like that over and over and over. And slowly as you progress, you might speed up a bit because you're slowly sort of learning it. But the point is that if you do this, your body can register what you're doing, and slowly you sort of get ideas. Now, I know that if you read Guskin's book, it sounds like he's constantly sort of probing people, asking, what do you think about that? What would happen here? And you can do that. It's a lot easier if you have someone like me to pose these questions. And what we're doing if we're posing these questions is simply trying to make you think about, okay, but might the text mean this? Might he be feeling that? Stuff like that. But when you work with it yourself, it is actually simply a question of following the mechanics I just explained to you. I go from the text from one end to the other and see what happens. And slowly, right, over a few repetitions, and preferably over many days and many repetitions, you are going to read the text into your body so it becomes available, right? You might have exactly the same response to a piece of text every time you read it. Now, this can mean two things. Either that this is the response which is just exactly what it needs to be and we don't have to, and there's no way around it. Usually that's not the case. Usually it's you who found something that you think is kind of cool or that you like and that you feel, right? So you can't stop looking for it again. It's very, very, very necessary that you understand that you should always have the opportunity, it should always be possible that what you're doing is now something else than it was before. It doesn't have to be something else, but there should be the opportunity that if you get a different impulse, it is different. Right. Now for the demonstration. He stopped believing. That's it. That's why he failed. He quit. So much talent. So much potential. But he stopped believing in himself. He lost his way. Because he couldn't figure out what to do next with his career. And I guess all the stress added up. And finally broke him. His music was great. I would listen to it all the time. It would get me into a pumped up emotional state. and his lyrics never got old. No one gave him a chance. But I think that in today's world, that doesn't matter. He didn't give himself the chance to take control of his career. The way he could have. Maybe it was fear. From doubting himself. And it crippled his ambition. Okay, I hope this made sense to you. I know the video got a bit long and the explanation perhaps a bit lengthy. I just know that there are millions of questions which can occur according to this. I don't know if you just looked at that demonstration and thought that looked really boring. Well, it's not supposed not to be boring. It's also not supposed to be boring. It's supposed to be whatever it is. And remember, it's an exercise, it's training, it's exploration, it's not a performance. So that doesn't really matter. What matters is that you keep the pace down and speak in your natural voice. When I did this the first time with Guskin many years ago, he simply looked at me, and as you may have noticed, I'm a pretty fast talker. The only thing he said to me for approximately 20 minutes while I was doing this exercise was, "Slow down, Jesper, slow down, slow down." That was virtually the only thing I got from him, and suddenly something just weird happened where I sort of, felt the words resonating within my body. I know that's also because I was really, really nervous at the time. So my nerves were sort of all on end, so I was sort of very, very open to responses. But my point is, keep it down, teach yourself, make it routine that you speak slowly, because only when you make it routine that you speak slowly, that's the only time it's going to work. If you feel that you're sort of artificially holding yourself back, it's really not going to work as efficiently. And last thing I'm going to say is that even if you do it a bit wrong, it's still going to work. The only mistake you can really make is if you fall into a pattern and say each line in exactly the same way. If you do that, then it's going to stick in your head, and it's going to be very, very difficult to depart from when you start performing. So make sure that you always have the opportunity of something else happening. Right. Write in the comments if you have anything, and I hope I'll be able to find time to answering them. Enjoy.